Hi there, I'm Holly McDonald with the Costa Mesa Pod, where we discuss all things concerning the lifestyle, the businesses, and activities that make our area such a great place to live. And today I am joined by Rosie, and she is the founder of National Love is Kind Day, which is right here, right now. And so, Rosie, thank you so much for being here.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. This is
Yes,
fabulous.
no, well,
Really.
I'm excited to have you. And our mutual friend Cindy Lee
Hmm.
introduced us
Hmm.
and let me know a little bit about what you're doing, but I want you to share with our community
Hmm.
what is Love is Kind Day? Like what is it? How did it get started? Bring us into it.
Oh, sure. Um, so this is a movement. It started out as a movement, the Love is Kind movement that we have on Facebook. And we were working with a coach. My daughter and I have the Love is Kind Network, the Love is Kind Pledge, the Love is Kind movement, and now National Love is Kind Day, which my daughter just spearheaded. We were working with a coach, and she said, "You can have a day for the city." And my daughter thought, "Oh, not the city, we're going national." And it all started with we were living in the Middle East. I was in an abusive relationship for over 25 years. And my daughter was born into that. And she just didn't have a normal childhood, sadly. And we were living in Lebanon at the time, and when she was a junior at the American University of Beirut in Lebanon, she charged up one day to my office and said, "You got to get me away from my abusive father." And we had talked about it maybe a couple years prior because I had been married 18 years before I even knew I was in an abusive relationship. It wasn't until I read a book called The Verbally Abusive Relationship that I realized I was. And that's part of the problem. Women don't even know the signs. They don't know that they're in this relationship. I used to be sort of a rising star in finance in Silicon Valley, and then here I leave my family and my friends, everybody, to follow this man that I think I love. I put the word think, and only to be just decimated almost on a daily basis until you're crushed and you lose who you really are. And to not know that for 18 years, I just thought I wasn't enough. I'm not doing enough. Okay, I'll do it. I'm very goal oriented, right? I want to achieve, and it didn't work. It didn't work. And it's like a roller coaster. So my daughter, of course, observed a lot of this. Where as much as you try to hide from your children, they are very observant.
Yeah.
And then when she became a teenager, as any teenager, she likes to establish her independence, and then he didn't like that anymore. So then he started to really pound on her. And so in that day, and when she ran up to me and she said, "Get me away from me," within 4 months, I planned the escape of our lives. And I won't go into the detail, but let's just say I totally surprised him. He had no clue. And when we started to get, obviously, we had PTSD, PTSD for my daughter. But as we were healing and going through, we just said to each other, we didn't want another woman or child to go through this. And that's kind of why it was created. It was to celebrate freedom from abuse, and that every woman, I mean, everybody, my story is, I'm a woman and my daughter, so it's from that point of view, but truly that no one should have to live like that, and that we deserve to be treated with kindness. And that's kind of how it all kind of came to being.
Oh my gosh. Well, I am so sorry that you and your daughter experienced all of that. I also love that you're turning it into something positive. That you were able to escape and you're able to bring awareness and kindness now through your movement. So, how did it come to be that you went from we don't want anybody else to go through this to now a national movement?
Yeah, it's I mean, we were working with this coach, I was starting to say in the beginning, and she said you could have a national day because we were building our business um and my daughter just decided to go to find out about these days. We had never heard of a day before. You know, you could have a city day, a county day, a state day, and there are national days. And she did all the details. I just kind of paid the bill,
Yeah.
and we just it just filled our hearts, Holly. I mean, it was just like, this is just, I can't, I can't not live this, right?
Mhm.
I'm just so pushed to follow this dream that we had to create to create changes for the world. Because what we believe is that when you are kind to yourself first, and I can go into that in detail if we have time,
Yeah.
you create a kinder, intimate relationship. You create a kinder family, you create a kinder community, and you create a kinder world. And to me, that's a win-win.
Yeah.
And what I have found, the statistics are horrible. I mean, it's almost, over 2.5 billion women and children are, and I haven't added the men, but because my focus is on women, have experienced some kind of abuse in their life, some
Mm.
form. And there's so many different kinds of abuses. There's, financial abuse, emotional abuse, gaslighting. There's obviously sexual abuse, physical abuse. There's, and then there's nuances within each, right? So and we what I did, and I think a lot of women do, is that we make excuses for somebody else's behavior because we want it to work. We got married, or we're still in a relationship. We may not even been married. I've spoken to women, Holly, who have been out of a relationship, divorced for 10, 12 years, and not until they heard me speak did they realize, oh my God, I was in an abusive relationship. Oh my God, my partner, my husband was a narcissist. And that impacts you moving forward to be able to establish a healthy relationship going forward. And that's what the goal is to help women realize you can move past this, that you are enough, that you are a kind person, and you deserve kindness. You got to know the steps to shift from the toxic behavior that you lived to being in a kind relationship.
Well, and I love how you said that kindness starts with yourself, like being
Yes.
kind to yourself. And yes, I want to dive right into that because when we I think when most people think of abusive relationships, they're thinking of, um, the abuser, right? Like, the person that is in the
Mm.
power position, hurting and harming someone else. And yes, that's very important. But let's start with the person that is the victim, the one being abused. What can they do, and how does this day impact them?
It's it depends where the woman is. If she's in it, if she's still in it, my voice to her, my message to her is this is not it's not your fault in the sense that you are not causing him to abuse you.
Mhm.
Okay.
You didn't do
They,
anything wrong, right?
right.
Yeah.
So what I didn't know, and this is a big way to be kind to yourself, right? What I didn't know. So I have to take responsibility to not for what happened in the past, because I can't change this, but for moving forward.
Yeah.
And one of the big things I didn't know, Holly, is that I just let him walk over me. I didn't set any healthy boundaries. I was too afraid. Most women are in survival mode. And so one of the kindest things you can do for yourself is setting healthy boundaries. Now, boundaries is not because in the beginning, especially if you got out of the relationship, it's like, I'm putting this wall around me. No one's going to touch me. No one's going to hurt me. And so you don't have a relationship at all. But you have these big walls. But that's not what boundaries are. Boundaries are based on your values, what's important to you, and it's your way to teach others how you want to be treated. So for example, well, actually when I first landed, it's like I don't want to even look at a man. But then I started to, well, okay, I kind of like men. So, um, but as I got more serious, it was really clear to me that it was up to me. So if somebody said something I didn't like, before I would people please, right? That's
Yeah.
the opposite of being kind. I would just say, oh yeah, sure, or think, oh, that doesn't really bother me when it really did. So then I thought, well, Rosie, that you're not being true to yourself. You're not showing up as your real self. And actually, what you're doing, Rosie, is that you're really lying. You're lying to yourself and to the other person of who you are by saying, yeah, it's okay when it really isn't. So then I started to speak up and I just said, that really bothers me when you say, you know, um, my cooking's not good, when I know I'm a good cook, and then, to ask more questions, for example. So the whole thing is setting boundaries is teaching others how you want to be treated. And you do that by speaking up and saying your truth. And if the person can't take it, or the person lashes out, or the person says you're too sensitive, or the person says, you're just making a big deal out of everything. That person's not for you. You don't have to keep crawling to say, oh, I'm going to turn myself into a pretzel to be liked. And that's what women do. That's what I did for 25 years. And it's like, never again.
I love the statement that people pleasing is the opposite of kindness.
It
Never thought of
is.
it that way. And it that is a mic drop.
Yeah, and it is truly,
Yeah.
because you think about what people pleasing is. It's like you're saying yes to something you don't really believe in, that you don't really want, but you're so afraid to hurt somebody, you rather hurt yourself than hurt them. And it's not about hurting, it's about just telling the truth. And when you tell the truth, it's there's no argument,
Yeah.
right? And you
The
can live with yourself, and
truthful.
the person can either accept what you say is truth and it's okay for them. They have the right. Right? I work with my clients and they go, but I told them, I don't like this. I go, but you can't control somebody else. You can only control yourself. So if you have to make decisions, we have to constantly make conscious decisions on how we want to show up. We can't we can't control somebody if they just say, well, I'm gonna just tell you you're stupid all the time. And you can choose to stay or not stay. Now, again, if you're in the relationship and it's a very, abusive relationship, there are steps to get out.
Yeah.
And that's beyond what I do. So I don't want, because you have to think of safety. If you're in a relationship, you must think of safety primarily.
Yeah.
So, but
What are some of those resources? I mean, I know that there are several out there that people can turn to if they are in, an abusive relationship.
yeah, this is good. I'm glad you brought it up because sometimes they don't talk about it. For the United States, the biggest one is the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Oh, you can just sometimes they just go by the hotline. They have a great, great website with so many resources. They have a telephone hotline. That's what that hotline really word means. And the number is right there. You can go there. You can just nowadays you can Google domestic violence hotlines. So you can get them that's in your local areas. They have local areas have many, many. I'm starting to create a whole resource list of that. There are hundreds of these organizations throughout the United States. There are organizations throughout the world, but with today's technology, people who live overseas can access those in the United States as well. And if you can find somebody that you can really trust and share it with them. Holly, I lived, these 18 years in shame. That's what kept me not telling anybody what I was going through. I was so embarrassed. I just thought I could make it work. And I didn't tell anybody. And not until I escaped, when I found that out, I told three people, my brother and my two best friends. And when I escaped, I told two of my friends that in Lebanon because I needed their help. Five people in 25 years knew about my story.
Oh boy. Well, and I mean, you said it from the beginning that you were like a high achiever and everything. So, I mean, I'm just guessing that probably that shame element was very high for you on many levels.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And for women, it's we don't share it. We think, it's just us the whole time. Plus, and when you're in an abusive relationship, in most cases you're isolated. Now, I lived overseas. Again, it was my choice to live over there, right? But I didn't have a clue that I would be so isolated. And he made it difficult for me to see my family or talk to my family. And it's done here in the United States. I've talked to women all over the world. It all sounds like we were married to the same man. The checklist of their behaviors are so similar. So it's not the Middle East only, it's not the United States only, it's everywhere. And just before we got on here, I was just doing some research. I was shocked to see like the island of Fiji has one of the highest percentages of abuse. Fiji, we think of it as a glorious, beautiful place to visit.
Yeah.
So it just shows you how prevalent this, to me, this is the biggest crime in the world.
I don't know if this is something that you can speak to, but I've seen videos where I think there are like signals that women give if they're out with an abuser so that they can let the public know or, that they need help. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I am. I don't remember what the signals are, but there are. And I think I'm glad you mentioned that as well, because that's something somebody could look up, what are the signals when you're in public that you can give to somebody else, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know because that was after, I got out. It's pretty recent, but
Yeah.
I think that's a really good thing for when you are in it and you want to get out and how to get help.
Yeah. Knowing for ways to ask for help. I would love to just pivot now to the actual day that we're talking about. I mean, obviously, it's a movement and kindness is something that we should all be practicing every day. But what are some of the tenets of the movement? And like, how can people be kind? How can they show up and show that they're kind and express their kindness in a loving way? What do you guys like to share with the community?
Remember how we were talking in the very beginning about kind of starts with you first, and then you're to I mean, and when I'm talking about even abuse, it's not just with the intimate partners. We know this is could be in your workplace, lawyers, doctors, any human being, politicians, you name it. This can impact us. But for us, we're here for intimate relationships. And one is that you have the right. This is a day to declare our freedom from abuse. And then to declare our right to be treated with respect, dignity, in safety, and of course, in kindness. Those are the main precepts of this movement. This is our right to behave, to be able to expect this. And that's why you you get to be kind to yourself first. It has to start with you first. And we talked a little bit about that. But also, when we talk about kindness, don't you find that when we have random acts of kindness, that it's easier sometimes to be kind to strangers than to the people closest to us? I find like, oh, we kind of drop down, we just let it go and just we're angry and just throw it out. So how about starting first, showing up, because you have to be kind to yourself so you can share that kindness. If you're upset, if you're down, if you're depressed or whatever, build yourself up, and it is not hedonistic. It's not selfish. That's when you can give. And then you can be aware when people are not giving. And then to people closest to you, let's start there. It's just like think twice before you just shout at them or give a sharp remark to them. Be responsible for what comes out of your mouth, or for how you show your face. The dirty looks. We would get dirty looks, the eye rolls, the everything, the position, the this, the that, right? Think of that first. And then you show your children that we can share, that we can be truthful, that when the highest good of a relationship is when you're honest with each other. How can you build a trustworthy relationship when it's on bricks that are ready to fall apart?
Whew, yeah. That's All really great. I mean, and it is a good reminder because in our day-to-day, when we're going through things and maybe we have unrealistic expectations, I think you're right. It all comes back to being responsible to yourself and realizing that you have a choice in how you respond.
And then it starts with creating this awareness and what this is. And you can just say, hey, I'm having a bad day, and I may be a little short-tempered, or I may be, but I just have a lot of emotions going on. Or then you can say, if you say that and you think, oh, I'm having a lot of emotions going, well, maybe I need to take a walk in the park, or sit out in the garden, or journal, or something like that. That's taking care of yourself. That's being kind to yourself. And anybody can do that.
I have a 5-year-old boy, and sometimes he gets very into his emotions when he's frustrated. And I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, these are good things to practice with him on a more regular basis too.
Yeah, and for children, they can't express, they don't have the vocabulary. Adults barely have the vocabulary.
Yeah.
So this would be a good thing for you to start teaching your child the vocabulary of it, and to say, I'm sad. And children, that's how children can draw. This is what's really good. Even adults draw, they use art to express things like, oh, show how you're feeling, or just draw a picture. What are you thinking today? Or well, you're feeling that. What does that look like on paper? Right, and see what color of crayons he picks up and what he draws. Does he draw a cloud? And he's 5 years old. He can probably draw a
Yeah, yeah,
cloud,
yeah. No, it's
right? Just whatever comes up, because it's hard, right? We have not learned to identify our feelings or feel our feelings. That's a whole nother topic, right? Feeling our feelings so that we don't bottle them in, and yet feel our feelings and realize that we can come out the side just fine.
well, where can people find out more about everything that you're doing online? I don't know if you have social media. I know you've got a website. Where can people find out more? And I'm so excited that this is actually going to be posted on the day of. So this is exciting.
Yeah, well, we have a Facebook page called the Love is Kind movement. The real love is kind. I didn't I know we're kind of going over, but I wanted to also make a note that in the world of abuse, love can be a trigger, because, oh, I had to hit you because I love you, right? We get these conflicts, and that's why I talk about kind love. So anyway, we have the page, the Love is
I'll
Kind
link it.
movement page. So please follow that, follow it, because the bigger we get, the more people will see it. I have a couple of gifts. I have the Love is Kind Empowerment Pledge that my daughter and I wrote, and I'll give you the links to all of these so you can share them. And then for even for women who have been out of the relationship, they've gotten some healing, and they just think that there's no kind guys out there. They don't know how to move from, this toxic love that they experience, to really moving into kind love. I'm offering a free mini coaching session, which includes a free assessment, their free kind love assessment. So I'd love to offer that to everybody, and just make a post on the follow the Love is Kind movement. We embrace everybody worldwide. It says national, but people see this worldwide. And we want to just make a difference in the world. And our goal is to reach 100 million women and their children so they can release the shackles of abuse, and to know that they deserve kindness and can create a productive and joyful life.
Well, I love everything that you're doing. Thank you
Mm.
so much for taking some time to share about it. And yeah, everybody go follow the Facebook page, join the movement, and show some love today in a kind way.
Oh, I love it. You're
Thank you
awesome.
so much, Rosie.
Oh, you're awesome, Holly. Thank you.
Bye-bye.